Wood Finishes 101, Introduction to Wood Finishes. So, essentially we're going to go over some of the basic wood finishes, do some introductions on what options are out there, and sort of basic procedure how to get started. Like a few choices of how to choose which one you're going to use, pros and cons and all that. So first off, you got to finish the surface of your wood projects. This is essentially sanding. You want to make sure that you don't leave imperfections on your project. A lot of times when you end up machining a part, you end up getting some screw marks, little burn marks, something like that. And if you apply a finish afterwards or a stain, it usually will highlight that feature. So what you're going to want to do is add nice little sanding to it, buff it out. It has a nice feel. Surface finish is only going to be, surface finish is going to be as smooth as your wood finish. So if you don't have a smooth wood finish, you're not going to have a smooth surface finish. Yeah, essentially a good place to start is between 80 to 100 grit. A lot of people start at 60 grit, but you don't really have to start that low unless it's a very deep sort of gouge in the wood. But you don't want to sand more than you have to because it's just wasting effort. So of course there are finer is needed, but generally you need 100 is a good place to start. And a good place to finish is usually between 120 or 150 grit. You don't really have to go super smooth. Fun fact, the smoothness of your grit will affect how your finish shows up. If you have larger gouges, somewhere like 80 grit or something like that, the wood will appear darker than if you have 120 grit finish. Because the gouges take more of the dye and stain. So why finish? There's a few really good reasons. One of the biggest ones is water protection. So wood is a living thing. So if you have water on it, it'll take it in. If you have water out of it, it'll not take it in, put it out. So for example, if it's a really humid day, that water's going to absorb into your wood. If it's a really dry day, that water's going to come out of your wood and it sort of expands and retracts. What finishing does, or adding a surface finish does, is reduces the impact to your wood. So it doesn't completely stop it, but it reduces it. That's bad. You don't want that in your wood piece. So particularly if you have a table or something, you put a nice finish on that to protect it. That'll help the longevity of your piece. Particularly because, cups, people, weird stuff, that'll mess it up. Another good reason is scratch protection. If someone's if you have a table, you put things on it, you can hit into it accidentally, scuff and scratch up your wood, so surface finish helps protect against that. They serve as a protective layer onto your board. That's bad. You don't want that. It also keeps it in really nice condition. So going back to the whole surroundings of your wood, if it's really dry out, the water and moisture in your wood is going to leave it. So what that has been doing is it makes it more prone to cracking, makes it more prone to warping. It just makes your piece not last as long. So adding a finish on protects from that, helps make it a longer lifespan. It also really makes that great pop, so decoratively, it can be gorgeous. That's okay, but that's grain, right? You really see the definition between grain, it really accentuates the beauty of it. So that gets into this whole category of what's out there, what are you going to put on this wood? In general, one of the ways you categorize it is by two different types of finish. You either have a surface finish or you have a penetrating finish. So you can kind of see in this, where surface finish sits on top of the wood, and the penetrating finish goes into the wood. So penetrating finish is the pros that it dries into the wood. It looks really nice and natural because it goes into the wood, it becomes a part of the wood. It's not something sitting on top of it. So you get that nice, you can actually feel the wood underneath it. If you really like the feeling that grain sort of natural thing, that's a benefit. It's really easy to apply. You usually just pour on the rag, rub it in there, put a little gold and let it set to dry out. It's really easy to repair also because of that same reason. Let's say it starts to wear out in one area where you're using it more, then you can just pour it on the rag, apply it in there, let it dry out, and good to go. The issue with it is that it's not nearly as protective as a surface finish because it dries into the wood, again, rather than adding that protective layer on top of it. It also will need to be applied over time. So a lot of times the penetrating finishes are oil-based, and so that will either leave via people touching it around, or if it's a non-drying oil, it'll leave over time because it never really sets in there. Some good examples that you'll often see is mineral oil, linseed oil, tongue oil, that sort of stuff. Again, mostly woods. Surface finish is the pros of them is that it's very protective. They don't really need that much maintenance. You pour it on that one time, get that surface finish on there, and it's good to go for a while. That's what you normally see on tabletops because they're high wear situations. They don't really need that maintenance, and the nice thing about it is that you can apply it over a stain. The stain goes into the wood spray itself, so when you apply like a penetrating finish, it's not going to be nearly as good. You have two different things going into the wood, right? So it's surface finish, to get on top of that, because you have that stain application. Some of the cons that's hard to repair. A lot of times if you have damage on that surface, you might have to take off the whole surface and reapply the whole surface again. Also, a big complaint of the feel of it. A lot of people say it seems artificial, looks artificial. There's a lot of high gloss situations. And like, oh, that's wood, but we're looking at plastic on top, and that's all the complaint. This can be mitigated and helped out reduce a lot of situations and how you apply it. Some good examples are lacquer, varnish, polyurethane, that sort of stuff. So here's like an example of a penetrating finish application. This is used with mineral oil. Untreated. This is like a nice butcher cloth. This is used with Rubio monocoat, which we'll talk about later as well. But it's got a nice darkness to the wood a little bit, and it's more into the wood rather than on top of it. This is some surface finishes. This, I believe, is a lacquer, and that is also lacquer, actually. This is a harder, high gloss one used in outdoor application. Lacquers and stuff are really waterproof, so use it both. So, linseed oil. Linseed oil and tung oil are some of the more common penetrating finishes you'll see in stores. Some basics of linseed oil. It polymerizes over time. So something that linseed oil by itself really doesn't dry that quickly. So what people end up finding out is that if you boil linseed oil, it'll actually polymerize a lot quicker than the raw stuff by itself. This makes it a lot thicker, use long moisture, so it dries quicker. What they've done modernly is added a lot of different chemicals to it, other additives, that way it dries quicker, even quicker yet. So a lot of times if you go into a store and you look for boiled linseed oil, that's what you end up getting, the ones with a lot of additives and chemicals. What you end up having to look for usually is, what's it called? The heat-treated or polymerized oil for the stuff that's just like linseed oil that has been boiled down, that's it, with no additives. Due to the modern additives, linseed oil often off-gases VOCs and other chemicals that are harmful, but you can try and mitigate that using just the purely boiled stuff, and that's the stuff you can use in MakeHaven. No VOCs in MakeHaven, but you can apply it at home still. But make sure it's really well ventilated, gas mask, all that stuff. Safety first. Tung oil, on the other hand, it can provide a relatively hard surface finish. It protects against water, dust, and alcohol, and fruity acids a little bit better than linseed oil because of that little hardness to it. It's not really the most durable. Again, penetrating finishes, you're going to have to apply again over time as they sort of wear off. Pure tung, like linseed oil, will take more time to dry than anything with additives or variations, but it's better than linseed oil. It's better than linseed oil. Unlike linseed oil, you can actually use the pure stuff by itself. It's good for food-related projects like bowls, spoons, things like that because it's literally driven with a seed. It does have poor penetration by itself, so a lot of times what people recommend is mixing it in like mineral spirits with 50%. What is that called? 50% dilution. So that way it sort of absorbs better into the first coat, and then you can go with the pure stuff right afterwards. That way it gets that first layer of deeper penetration, and then starts building on top. So one of the things that you end up seeing in stores a lot of time is variations on the tung oil, where again they'll add this additives to make it dry faster. And that's, again, VOC warning, you're probably not going to want to use that at MakeHaven, but regular tung oil is A-okay. You also have mineral oil. So this sort of goes back to the two types of oils there are. There's a wet oil versus not wet oil. The wet oils don't actually dry and polymerize over time, so they sort of will stay a little bit slick. Mineral oil is one of those oils, so it won't actually polymerize. It'll be a little slick. That means that if you use it, let's say, on a cutting board, really popular use for it, you're going to have to reapply that over time because it's going to wash away and get worn away. But really easy application, really great. It's wonderful for cutting surfaces because you cut into it, it doesn't matter if any of the additive gets into what you're cooking on, right? Because it's mineral oils, whatever. Then it goes back to the Rubio Monocoat, which we were talking about a little bit earlier. You saw on that table. It's a really nice surface finish from what I've read from a lot of different people. It's water resistant. It is strong. There's also a zero VOC version of it, so that you can use that in MakeHaven. It has the ability to color as well as protect the wood, so you don't have to add a separate staining by yourself. This product can also do it by itself. And it's a little bit pricey, but it can be a good investment depending on what you're using it for. Surface finish. So one of the first surface finishes that you will end up seeing probably a lot of places is varnish. Varnish is a mixture of oils and resins. Essentially, varnish is like you're dissolving the resins into something. So for example, long oil varnishes contain a high percentage of oil, and it's usually used for outdoor projects. This medium oil varnish contains less oil than long oil varnishes. This is used mostly for the interior market as well, and then there's also the short oil varnish, which requires really high heats to use, and so you usually won't see that yourself. You'll see that in industrial applications. It's also under the name baking enamels. But varnish itself is very water, heat, and chemically resistant, so it offers a really great protection. There's a few different varnish types, which determines the characteristics based on what resins are dissolved into the varnish. Alkyd, standard all-purpose interior, that's the one that you'll often see. There's phenolic, which is made with tung oil a little bit. That's usually used outside and externally. And there's also urethane, which offers better heat, solvent, preparation, and protection. This can be mixed with other oils to make it more easy to apply. So the key thing about varnish is that you pour on, you sort of brush in one direction, and then you have to let it sit and dry out. There are ones that you can rub in. That's these sort of mixed applications. So like Danish oil. Danish oil is not a true oil. It is the mixture between varnish and true oils. Teak oil is also similar in this sort of way. A lot of varnishes have benzene, and so you should not use them inside. So again, you can't really apply that varnish to your projects at MakeHaven, but in well-ventilated areas at home, as long as you use that for protection, that's great. There are some alternatives out there that are claimed to be VOC-free and eco-friendly that might be worth looking into. Eco's Wood Shield Varnish is one of the ones here. Another one that's sort of very similar to varnish is polyurethane. This is more like a modern day varnish. It is transparent, water, fungus, mildew resistant. It's very protective. It adds that nice layer of protection on top of the wood. It is oil-based and water-based, so two varieties. Oil-based varieties require fewer coats and is applied quicker, whereas the water-based, the resins aren't dissolved in oil, they're dissolved in water instead. So it just depends on the water evaporating away. These are more fickle though, and you have to have applications in the right temperature range. You also can be a bit easier to mess up, but if you're used to using them, it should be a fine application. This can sometimes be considered classically looking wood. So because it's building that layer on top, a lot of people say, oh, it's so shiny, it's definitely not wood. You can tell that. If you apply thin coats, if you reduce the amount of gloss of your application, you can really reduce that. So if you don't really care about having that good protective layer, you don't have to make it look plastic. This also has a lot of VOCs a lot of the time because it's oil-based, but there are VOC-free versions out there. Pro-Marine tabletop epoxy resin is one that I use, and it's VOC-free. There's also water-based resins varnishes out there, and yeah, again, they're less forgiving, more green, and generally low VOC, but there's still solvents like benzene in them, so it doesn't mean they're completely free game to use at making it sadly. Another surface finish is lacquers. Lacquers are a general winner and usually a favorite amongst sweeteners. They dry quickly, they look lovely, they're moderate to excellent durability depending on what kind of lacquer you use. So there's a few different types of lacquers. There is nitrocellulose lacquer, which is generally what you'll see if something's just labeled with, oh, I am lacquer. That's probably the variety that it is. It's got moderate water resistance, it's not sensitive, it's a little bit sensitive to heat. One of the biggest drawbacks is that it sort of yellows as it ages. There's another type of lacquer that's very similar to that one called acrylic modified, which I think is also labeled as CAB. That stands for cellulose acetate butyrate. That stuff is basically the same sort of thing as nitrocellulose, but it won't yellow over time. Then there's also the catalyzed lacquer, which is made with a bit of urea in it. There's There's like, I believe, 3 different types of acid it'll use in it, but you can mix it yourself or you can mix it later. You can mix it yourself or they can mix it for you in the shop that you buy it in. It's very durable and it adds more resistance to acid, so a very durable finish. Paint. Paint is a surface finish, and people often don't think of it, but if you look at the outside of houses, we paint them for a reason. It really protects the wood depending on the paint that you use. You don't have to get VOC paint. There's also something called milk paint, which I learned through this sort of thing. It's an all-natural thing made of weird milk combinations, I guess. But it's really good with protection. It's the issue that a lot of people see with it is that it covers up the wood so you can't see and appreciate the grain. But it is really good protection for water, fungus, mildew, that sort of thing. So that's always an option out there as well. So, what should you use to finish your wood? It really depends on the application and the type of wood you have. With oils, they really exaggerate the beauty of the wood, and it's a very good finish for decorative finishes. However, there is that issue where they're not nearly as protective as varnishes or surface coatings. So if you have, like, again, a tabletop or a coffee table, oil finishes might not be your friend for that because you're going to be bumping into it and wearing it down over time. But it is really good for like a beautiful cherry, a beautiful maple, something that you really want to look at the grain and have like really pop out and look nice on a shelf or a cabinet or something that you don't expect to be hitting and beating up all the time. There are some light color woods that will cause yellow, and really dark decorative woods might darken more over time. Not over time, darken more quicker. So it does affect the color of the wood. So that's just something to keep in mind. Varnishes, again, high wear, high traffic applications such as like dinner table, coffee table, that sort of thing. It's really good for external applications, like you're making outdoor furniture or a boat. And that's perfect. That's the kind of protection you're going to want to have. Water-based is a good bet on lighter woods because it preserves that lighter wood color and doesn't darken it with the oils and things such as that. Shellac and lacquer. We didn't really talk too much about shellac, but you should look into it. It's loved by people that use it. It's very good for colorful applications because it helps preserve the color in the wood. Something I was reading about that is that it sort of pulls the pigment out and preserves it in the shellac itself as it dries, so it helps make that a longer term application. But it is more set with chemical and heat variations. This is like a nice little table I found of a few actual surface finishes that you can look at and some pros and cons to each one. So that's just a good reference, courtesy of Sustainable Northwest Wood. That's Surface Finish 101.